deepin 25.2.0. Another point release. Same old problems. Another version number. Another wall of bullet points. Deepin just dropped 25.2.0. And if you have followed this distro for a while, you already know the drill. A big list of over 20 fixes, some shiny new AI buzzwords, and a promise that this time things are finally stable. So let's actually dig into what's changed and, more importantly, what it says about where this project really stands. First, let's talk about the Treeland problems. The headline feature here is Treeland, Deepin's homegrown Wayland compositor. And notice the language Deepin itself uses. Usability improved, over 20 fixes. That's not the language of a mature, production-ready component. That's the language of a project still patching its foundation while asking users to build a daily driver on top of it. Treeland has been in development for well over a year now, fixing crashes on logout, freezes when closing window thumbnails, broken escape key behavior during resize. These aren't polished items, these are basic functionality bugs. The fact that we are still seeing fixes for things like desktop and taskbar disappearing after entering your password too fast. In a point release this far into the project's life is a fair thing to be skeptical about. Now, let's talk about the AI buzzword layer. Then there is the new AI-powered image search. Being able to search local images by the text inside them. On paper, that's a nice quality of life feature. But let's be honest about the pattern here. Nearly every desktop Linux distro release in 2026 is racing to slap AI onto something. And Deepin has leaned into this harder than most, going back to its UOS AI push in earlier releases. The real question isn't whether the feature works in a demo, it's whether it's reliable, private, and doesn't quietly phone home. Deepin hasn't been transparent about exactly how that indexing and search pipeline operates under the hood. And that's worth pausing on before you enable it. Now, about the trust problems. Here is the part a lot of coverage glosses over. Deepin has a track record with other major Linux projects that should give anyone pause. It was pulled from openSUSE repositories over security policy violations and a pattern of unresolved vulnerabilities in its components. Fedora dropped Deepin packages after security concerns and an unresponsive maintainer. That's not ancient history. That's the kind of red flag that should factor into whether you trust a project with root access on your machine, especially one that keeps shipping kernel updates, security patches, and now deeper AI-driven indexing of your personal files. So now, what's actually being fixed? To be fair, the changelog isn't nothing. Multi-monitor handling looks genuinely better. Cross-screen splicing, per-display scaling, dynamic wallpaper behavior across screens. The file indexing controls are a sensible response to real complaint. People wanting to choose between fast search and lower resource usage. And the security patch list is long. curl, openSSH, openSSL, Poplar, FFmpeg, which at least shows they are keeping pace with upstream CVEs. But keeping pace with CVEs is table stakes, not an achievement. Every serious distro does that as a baseline, not a headline feature. Now, about the bigger picture. This is where the frustration sets in. Deepin has one of the most visually polished desktop environments in the Linux world. Genuinely, that part isn't in dispute. But polish on the surface doesn't fix what's happening underneath. A compositor that's still shaking out basic stability bugs. A security history that got it removed from two major distributions. And feature announcements that increasingly lean on AI marketing language rather than concrete technical details. If you're already running deepin 25 and it's working for you, this update is probably worth taking. It's mostly bug fixes. But if you're a new user weighing whether to install deepin as your daily driver, this release doesn't really change the fundamental calculus. You are choosing a beautiful desktop built on a compositor that's still finding its footing from a project whose security track record has already burned bridges with the wider Linux community. So that's deepin 25.2.0. Genuinely useful fixes wrapped around genuinely unresolved concerns. If you have used it, I want to know, has Treeland actually felt stable for you? Or are you still hitting the same crashes? Drop it in the comments. Drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the tomorrow's video. Peace out.